An interesting thing happened when guitar great Louie Shelton was in the Wrecking Crew and he was working with the Motown acts. Now, it happened with a lot of different acts outside of Motown as well, but he said something interesting. I asked him, were the acts, those famous Motown acts, were they in the studio when you were recording? Were the Jacksons ever in the studio when you were doing, or were you just laying down the tracks?
They were never there, but the only time and the first time I saw Michael Jackson in the studio was when I went down to do an overdub at night, and he was doing the vocal to "I Want You Back," and he was 11 years old, and he's out there in this big studio in front of a mic, and I was blown away. Really, I mean, at the vocal that was coming from this 11-year-old kid. And that's the only time I ever saw him in the studio. They were never there. None of the Motown artists was. They were never there. The producers, they had a way of working with the band and the arrangers to get what they wanted, and then they'd. What's funny is a lot of times when we were doing Motown sessions, they wasn't sure who was going to be the artist on that track because it might fit Smokey Robinson or one of their other artists.
Berry Gordy worked that way.
Well, Barry wasn't even in the studio. It was Hal David, the producer.
Okay. Right.
Barry was never in the studio, even though he'd come in later and claim writers on and all of that. I shouldn't say that, but
well, that's an old story for that happens even more today. That now, just as an aside, today you've got the artist, always the artist, no matter what, and then a whole bunch of people who wrote the song.
Yeah. Yes. But I know there was this one tune, I'll Be There. Bob West was a bass player on some of the Motown things. And he wrote that song. And at the end of the day, he only ended up at 25% of it. And I won't name any names, but I never did. I didn't like that because he was relatively, I wouldn't say poor, but he wasn't a rich man, and these guys that are worth millions are taking 75% of his song. That to me was just not on.
Yeah.
That's sometimes that happens in the business.
By the way, did you ever splurge? Did you ever buy a Porsche, or what people do in rock and roll? Did you ever do that?
Oh, I had the Mercedes and Cadillacs and all of that. And now I have a Kia.
How
Yeah.
we've changed, huh?
Well, I mean, we have a nice family car, but I I'm always hauling stuff around, like speakers and amplifiers and stuff. So I need a Porsche not going to do me any good, so it wouldn't be very practical for me.
Hope you enjoyed that. Keep looking for our entire interview with Louie Shelton. It'll be at the very top of the description. When it's ready, we'll put it on all the videos. Remember, if you want to support the channel, at the very top of the description as well, there are links where you can join our Patreon or make a donation to the channel. But if you like what you hear and see, make sure you subscribe to the channel, like our videos, share them on social media, and make a comment. We read all the comments. We'll have more from Louie Shelton in the next few days. I'm John Beaudin. This is Rock History Music.